Huh? Hello? 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 Oh, I'm on? Oh, I can talk shit. What's this?
That,
What's
I mean,
this
you can.
swearing?
Hold
What's
on.
yeah, what's
Hold on. I mean, you can talk whatever shit you want. It just depends.
Yay. Okay.
All
Well,
right.
I mean, I guess is it really talking shit if you can hear me?
Oh, Masae is on. Okay. Somehow they're hearing you, but they couldn't hear me, but they can hear me now.
Oh, okay. Okay. I was about to start like relaying information like
What? No, wait, hold on. What kind? You can't. All right. Ame says it's good. Cactus says it's good. Brett says it's good.
Yay.
Faye Luna says it's good. Everyone else says it's good now. I mean, there's going to be a delay, but everyone says it's good now. All right.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Hello, Masae. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Have been rubbing my eyes for the past couple of minutes, so I'm like I'm like help. I keep smudging my glasses.
No, you're fine.
I'm fine. I'm fine.
I wouldn't know any of that if you hadn't said anything.
Well, I out myself all the time. It's fine.
What are you gonna do? All right. Actually, let me do one thing to make this look like technically, if I were to look at this right now, we're both staring like facing opposite of each other. So flip horizontal. That somehow made it worse. Okay.
I can always
Transform.
like
Flip.
just look the other way.
No. You. Well, okay. Then I have to change this. I gotta change me.
What
Okay.
direction should I look? Should I look to look
Transform.
this way
Flip.
or this way?
That way is great.
Okay.
Masae with the wire glasses. Yeah, how's that going for you? First question of the day.
Um,
How are your glasses?
not good. They are still wire, and by wire I don't mean the fancy kind from the doctor. I mean I took like actual wire out of a spool and I like hooked it up into the little hole in the glasses and I tied it together and I basically made my own glasses frame. Did I show you this, Andrew?
I've seen it when you post it.
Yeah, I guess I did. I forgot I did that. But yeah,
So what
it's
you're
not
trying to
good.
tell me is that there is no money in content creation. Got it.
Well,
Is this what
not
this is the
not
big
enough
reveal?
not enough to feed. Well, I'm also just a very frugal person. I'm also just extremely frugal, and it's like if it technically works, then it works, and I don't need to replace it. So
But you've
it's
replaced
still
it 3
working.
times. So is it really working?
It's working. I mean, it hasn't fallen apart yet for this iteration.
I
It's
hate
just
this.
hanging in there, and by hanging in there,
It's
I mean it's
really
hanging on
hanging in
my
there.
face.
Absolutely hanging in there. Please buy some glasses.
I will
Perfect.
have
Ah, my
later.
chat overlay works.
I'll buy some later. It's just look. I have appointment making anxiety and I just don't do it.
Yeah, is holding that sentence together better than the wire on the glasses is?
Shh. Shut up. Nope.
All right. Today it's look. Today is a very special day for me. It is I took like a 6 month break from the podcast. Did one episode back in January. Took a 2 month break from the podcast, and that was entirely devoted to a complete overhaul of said podcast. I actually have a logo that I didn't make, and you can tell that I didn't make it because there's effort put into it.
I think your designs always look like they have effort put in. You're a really good graphic designer, dude.
I
You got chops.
actually, so my big secret on this design was I found out that there's a website that just has like video game UI just documented.
Really?
And
Huh.
so you can, if you just want like inspo, You can just go on that website and you can just like look up any game and it just shows screenshots of like the different UI graphics and things like that.
Really? Hey, you're gonna have to send me that.
I
I mean, that's
can.
called referencing. That is literally referencing.
It's literally called
All
the
it
Game
takes.
UI database.
Wow.
Here,
That is actually pretty neat.
I've just
I
sent it to you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm gonna peruse that sometime soon.
Yeah, and obviously, like one of the things that shows up on the front page is Persona. So, I mean, if you want to talk about good game UI,
You'll never see it coming. Ba, 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 ba.
I've listened to that song quite recently. I still don't really know the lyrics.
I only know that first one. That's it. Nothing else. You'll never see it coming. And then other than that, I just kind of go, ha ha. Something, something.
All right. So the first usually half hour of the stream I dedicate to a Q&A session. That part has not changed. What has changed is that I'm far more organized about it, and you basically helped get the word out. So we have a couple of really good Q&A for us today, and I'm not just like
Excellent.
begging chat for something, anything. Me hungry for question, please feed. So let's start. Our very first question, if I have this correct. Wait, hold on. 15, 30, 35, 38, 30. Okay, this does go in time order. Our very first question comes from Sarah. She asks, what was some of the decision making that went into the new design / theme / brand? Did you have too many ideas and have to parse them down at all? Loving the new look, Masae.
Ah, thank you. So a lot of thought went into it. I just kind of like went for a vibe that I liked, I guess, because I knew that I wanted it to be Crows. And I kind of touched on a lot of different ideas at first because I was like, what relates to crows? What kind of design can I go with for crows? And a lot of it, I was just like, when you think of crows, a lot of it is just like Halloweeny, spooky, nighttime, and it
Yeah.
kind of leans a little bit horror more than anything else. And I was just like, that's not my vibe. I've never been like, I love crows and I do like spooky aesthetics, but it never felt like me, if that makes sense. So
TM.
it's just
Yeah.
like, what else do I have? And I've always loved cyberpunk aesthetics. I don't really talk about it much, but I like cyberpunk aesthetics that's kind of like the not okay, so I feel like there's two types of cyberpunk, right? There's like the post-apocalyptic cyberpunk where everything's dingy and it's like, oh, everything's futuristic, but it's also everything is falling apart, that sort of deal.
Yeah.
I like more the Tron vibe where it's like lights and glowy and very distinct like digital aspects. I enjoy that a lot. A big pull for me was the game Valhalla.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the bartending one. And I pulled a lot of feelings from that, especially with like the sound design and the music and everything. And I was like, I've always loved that. And I was like, maybe I can just lift some of these vibes. Um, and like I didn't want it to be super complicated in design for like the model itself
hmm
because I'm an artist and I have had to draw really complex VTubers before, and it's hell. It's always hell. I think they're beautiful. They're super, super pretty, but it's also like, oh no,
It's
this is complicated. So I knew I was gonna have to be drawing my own model, not my own model, but like drawing assets for it or whatever. And I was like, there's no way. I need to make it something that would be fun to draw. And
right.
so, yeah.
So like
So
even
I
though you
wanted
didn't like make the rig and everything, you wanted the character design to be something that you could also then go back and like
exactly.
merch, for example, how you launched your merch
Yes.
store.
Yeah. Yeah, I had that in mind already. I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to, like, design merch for this whatever this design ends up being." And I was like, "I need to keep it simple. I need to keep it, like, still fun and still kinda cool looking,
Right.
but also simple enough that it won't be a pain to go back and have to design things around it." And I kinda wanted to lean a little bit Vocaloid. And because I feel like
Oh yeah.
Vocaloid feels kind of cyberpunk as well, right?
Yeah.
So it's like Vocaloid vibes, cyberpunk vibes. So
Yeah.
yeah, whatever. Yeah, I can slap that on a crow and call it a day.
Put a crow on that thing.
Put a crow on that thing. So
That'll work.
yeah, exactly. So my thought of it was like, oh, a digital crow that flies on data waves. Whatever, it works.
Yeah. Our next question comes from Pikmin442. He asks, "What game do you hold close and dear to your heart?"
A lot. So many.
You know what I haven't thought about? Like,
Hmm.
when I first met you, you were like playing a bunch of like different Tales of games, and I let you borrow my PS4 so you could play the demo for the
You did.
latest one.
You did.
Wait,
need
do
to
I
get
have
that
that
to you.
back?
Did, wait,
You gave
did
that
I?
back to me, right?
Did I give it back to you?
Is it still there?
No, I gave it back to you.
Okay.
Oh, I like second guessed myself. I'm like trying to bring my neck over and look at my shelf. I'm like,
I was
it's still there, right?
I almost did the same thing because I kind of wanted to turn around and just be like, because like my box is in the other room. I can check maybe during the break.
I still really appreciated that, by the way. That was super, super awesome of you.
You're
That was
welcome.
it made my entire day.
I just want to feel useful. But yeah, what other games do you like? Do you hold near and dear?
So, I mean, if I'm gonna just rapid fire a few of them, Ocarina of Time, very clear, very clear influence. Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, Undertale, the first two Xenoblades, and probably the third one too. Whenever I get around to finishing it, because I still haven't even. Jeez, I'm still in the middle of that. The Danganronpa series, all of the games except for Ultra Despair Girls. I hate that one. That one I hated that one.
I heard it was very different.
It was very different and it did not vibe with me. I felt bad. I did buy it, so it was like so I didn't feel as bad, just looking up the entire playthrough with no commentary and just pretend that I played it.
So you're a cheater.
No, if I hate the game, then yes. I will gladly cheat at a game when I hate the game.
That's fair. That's fair.
The story was good though. It was good. The entire like story and vibe, and it was very interesting. But man, back.
It is. Pierre Kong says it is okay cheating on that game.
Thank you. I feel validated.
It's the best game on PS Vita you're not playing because you don't own a PS Vita. Zanaki asks, "No question. Just want to say congrats on your change and good luck in your new venture."
Aw, thank you. Very sweet. That's so nice.
Our next question comes from Colleen, asking, "How did you guys meet? Was it at MagFest, PAX, or somewhere else?" It was MagFest.
Yeah, did we talk before that?
No,
Online?
I literally had never met you before.
Ah.
And ironically, it was when I was about to start like my first podcast.
Right. Yeah, I remember that.
And literally the night before, we had gone to like some other different YouTuber like meet and greet, and I felt oh so inspired. I don't want to talk about that YouTuber anymore, but we after like the day after was the Throwing Controllers panel. And when everyone was like, oh, we're going to do like a meet and greet right out in the hallway, I was kind of like, well, this seems like as good a time as any to start figuring this out.
Ah, that's so cool, though. Gosh.
So yeah, the very first time I went up to talk to you was also that one time I reference it every now and then where it's like I had a friend of mine who like made a comment about the, I think Sylveon. It was, oh no, I think it was Umbreon. It was either Sylveon or Umbreon. You had like an art piece of one of those two evolutions. And for some reason he decided to make a comment about like, oh, like Leafeon or Glaceon or something like that is like way better. And you just kind of like looked at him and it was like, oh, like a fan gave me this.
Oh, wait, I remember that. Oh, ooh, yeah.
So that's the first time we met.
Oh, God.
And I was like, I am about ready to like completely disown this person in like 5 seconds.
Oh, my God. Wait. Oh, that brought it rushing back. It was Sylveon. It was Sylveon. And I felt bad because like I also like Glaceon and Leafeon better than I do Sylveon. So I was like, I don't know how to respond to this.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, not wrong, but
I was like, I don't know. What do I say to this? I agree with you. I don't want to say something bad about this person's gift.
They could still be here.
They were probably right next to me. I was like, how do I handle this? How do I escape this situation? Oh my God. That's hilarious.
I was thinking the exact same thing. How do I escape this situation?
I'm so glad that our brains connected in that moment, but in opposite directions.
How do I get this person out of the situation?
Oh my God, that's so funny. Hey, well, it turned out fine because look at us now. Now we're buddies. And now I can remember that moment and just kind of laugh a little. And periodically, once in a while, bring it up again and then watch you die a little inside.
Anyway, I like Umbreon.
I also like Umbreon. Umbreon is my favorite.
Well, like, I think you were also so you were not the first person I did the interview with. Full cringe by proximity. Holy shit. Yeah, that's so right. But you were the first person to respond, actually. So when I basically like went up to everyone, said hi, said, I'm not prepared, but here's this thing I'm trying to do. Please don't hate me. And then I remember like reaching out to everyone after that on like, you know, Twitter, may she rest in peace. And I was like, so do you guys remember me? And I think you were the first person who was like, yeah, I remember. I was like, all right, cool. This is actually going to happen. Like something's going to go somewhere. And then 3 years later, we actually started the podcast.
Yeah, it took a little bit. I don't remember why. It was probably just me being really bad at making connections and following up too. So
I believe it.
You know, shut up. How dare you? You're supposed to encourage me.
Look, I'm a very patient person. Like the only nice thing I can say about myself.
I mean, that works because I require a lot of patience. I'm gonna say that straight up. I require a lot of patience.
I require patience. Sometimes food.
Oh, yeah, that helps too.
Yeah. I have to assume so.
The golden duo right there.
Hold on. I'm doing like some very micro adjustments. Patience is a virtue, as my aunt always said. I remember that from like so many different TV shows. All right.
Patience is a virtue?
Patience is a virtue. I mean, I was just kind of, look, I'm not going to get anywhere by like, you know, pestering anybody to do the thing I would like them to do. So I'll just, you know, wait. And then when we did start the interview, I think that took like an additional 3 years.
I think it was one. It was just one,
It was
wasn't
not
it?
one. We
Was it
started
not
the
one?
interview, I think, in like 2015. I moved twice. I moved in 2016 and then again in October 2018. Or 17, rather. So
Damn,
I think it
man.
was like, I think we finally finished it in like 2018. And then I didn't finish editing it until 2020. Maybe 2021. I don't remember quite.
Oh my gosh.
Um, it
Man,
it took a long time. I think what I learned about
it's
that whole
the
experience is that I
strongest.
hate editing.
I mean, that's valid. That is so valid. I enjoy editing, but it needs to be at my pace.
Yeah, and now I'm just kind of like, fuck it. I'm just going to ask people to do editing for me. I'm not going to
I mean,
bother
that
anymore.
is
I can't
literally
do it.
where I'm at now because I can't keep up anymore. But I'm giving myself like one passion project at a time where I can do like I'll just I'll have the continual like editor in the background. Bless you, Dan. Thank you.
Uh-huh. That reminds me, we need one when we go on break. We're gonna have to do the audio recording for Dan. Forgot about that. I forgot to tell you about
Audio
that.
recording? What?
Yeah, I do an audio version of the podcast too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Speaking of audio, how are our levels, chat? Is there a specific place to ask questions? You can ask a question here if you'd like. I do have a question list that I'm trying to get through. And so maybe I'll stop with some of the side banter. Let me check out this next question from Katagi. Let's see. Masae said her rebranding process and concept was formed over the span of a couple of years. Are you able to provide a general timeline on when things were in the works got done, such as model art, rigging, music assets, etc.?
Oh man. So, gosh, that's so hard to answer actually because it was all mashed together. It was all mashed together. Some people work slower, some people work faster, and it was all kind of going on and on like everything was on its own track essentially.
Yeah,
The
that makes sense.
longest processes were definitely the model art and model rig, which was also very tricky because you can't start the rig until the art is done. So it's like it was definitely the longest process and they relied on each other a lot. So it was a little bit tough on that front, but it was okay because like everything else, like the backgrounds, the music and everything else was just kind of gradually gotten together from different people throughout basically the entirety of those 2 years. Because but I can tell you when I pulled the trigger on it and I was like, all right, it's time. I'm gonna do it. I just have to like see when I first tapped Pan. The very first message when I messaged her was way back in October 2022.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I guess like it's about 2.5 years ish. Little over the 2 year mark. But October 2022 is when we first started getting the process going. And then after I did that and after I was like, all right, take my money and don't let me think about it. It's like, all right, now I can start. Now it's official. Now it's official. I can start working on everything else.
Got it. Makes sense.
Popsky is really quick with music. Popsky works so quick and so great. And also Lacey knocked that song out in a month, less than a month.
That
So
was the one
it
I
was
was really
wild.
surprised out because I was like, you had shown me like all these different things throughout the process, and then all of a sudden it's just like, oh, I'm doing a music video. I was like, what?
Yeah. Well, it was a very last minute thing. Like it was something that I wanted to do, but I didn't know how. And
Mm,
I was kind of like going through the process of like trying to figure out like how do I even start? Because I'm not a musician. I'm not a musician. I don't know what goes into it. I don't understand the creative process and what would be required of me and whether I even would have had the ability to do something like that, you know?
right.
And so it was definitely a lot of like trying to figure that out. And then I had actually completely given up on it. I was like, this is too much. This is too much. I can't find anyone. I can't do anything. It's fine. It'll be fine without the song. And then literally like February, like the February 1st or 2nd, 1 month out from from the from the debut, I'm like, wait a second, I know Lacey. It's like,
Hold on.
hello, hello, please,
Hello,
take
princess. Please,
commissions.
princess.
Yeah, she was like, "Oh my god, yes!" And so we started working on that, and it was like hit the ground running. We started working on it, and it was a process. It
Awesome.
was definitely a process.
TM.
TM process TM.
Let's see. I'm going to maybe hold some of these rebranding questions for the actual show. But I do appreciate everyone's questions. We also have one from Wendy Finnegan asking, what is your favorite Kirby game?
Superstar. Superstar
Mm,
is just a piece of my childhood. Forgotten Land is also very good. I really enjoyed Forgotten Land, and I think objectively it was a very good game, but it doesn't scratch the Kirby itch in the same way for me.
yeah, I felt the same way about Forgotten Land. I think it's weird because like my quote unquote favorite Kirby game is like either Dreamland 3 or
Oh, come
64,
on.
but I haven't
Both
played those in
ones.
like years. So those could be terrible.
No, they're both good. They're both good. See, I liked 64 because I thought that the combination mechanic was very unique and they really
Mm,
haven't brought it back in the same capacity. Which I think is kind of a shame and I really love the way that they handled that. 3 Dreamland 3 is great. However, a lot of like the ending puzzles and the requirements for 100% are garbage and
mm,
vague and not intuitive at all. So, like
yeah.
it's
Okay.
basically a guessing game, so it's kind of annoying in that sense. But playing it, it's cute and it's fun and it's a good vibe.
That's fair. I feel like everyone's favorite is Superstar, but I remember feeling like oddly weirded out by it as a kid because it was like it's not like a full one game.
Yeah.
Uh
Yeah.
the fact that it is like so many different games at once and like three of them are mini games and I think like the others were just kind of like so vastly different, but everyone has like very fond memories of them. I was just the one that
Yeah.
was like, eh,
No,
eh.
that makes sense. I don't blame you at all on that, honestly.
Let's see. Let's see. Okay, this might be well, yeah. I'll go ahead and ask this question. Celebi Sun asks, I've been really enjoying the new content and having a great time in the community. If you don't mind me asking, what compelled you to make a second YouTube channel specifically for the VTuber content?
Oh, yeah, there's actually a few layers of that. There's a few layers. One is just that it's hmm, it's hard to describe because it has to do with YouTube algorithm. My channel, that channel, Masae is so old and so full of material that it has nothing to do with the VTuber game. It has
Yeah.
nothing to do with it. It's always focused on LPs. It's always focused on actually nothing but that. That was the bread and butter of that channel since I started it back in 2009. So, if I were to take something completely different, like a VTuber, not planning on doing LPs on the channel anymore, and instead doing highlights and clips and potential music videos and stuff like that, it wouldn't have the same type of reach, which would flag the channel as being, being
Mm,
like not like going down a different track.
yeah, it
Also,
basically like the way that I think it's described is that YouTube doesn't know what to do with it, so it's just kind of like, I
yes,
don't know, I'll just throw it to everyone, and then when people don't watch it because it's not the content they want to see, then YouTube's like, well, your stuff sucks.
exactly.
It's
Thank you. That's a much more succinct way of putting it than I was trying to do. I was like going around in a circle. I was like, how do I even explain this? But
yeah, it's like
that's a very good explanation.
I feel like so Steven George had a really good video about it too, because he like I think it was a couple of years ago he was talking about like they basically got a consultant to come down and say like, well, if your content's like this, then maybe you don't want to do that, and you can't just have a channel that you just shove whatever you want
Everything. Yeah,
on it.
exactly. Which is
And
wild.
basically you also have to be constantly making content or YouTube like forgets you exist. It's the same, and it does the same thing. It essentially is just like, well, I don't know what to do with this video here, even though it used to know what to do with that video like 10
Yeah,
years ago.
exactly.
And now it's just kind of like, well, your content's bad. That's why this didn't work.
Our robot overlords just taking that mindset and sticking with it, I guess.
And you're just kind of like, I guess you're right, YouTube.
Yeah. So yeah, it's basically the core reason is that. The core
Yeah.
reason is that. The secondary reason is because I have been dying to get rid of the Anela part of my name because of the spelling. I was literally just talking about this a few hours ago. Masae, Anela. Count the E's and count the A's. There are so many in there, and it was horrendous for people to keep track of, to market it, to tell people where
Yeah.
to go. And it's like, I needed something simple. Like a lot of the branding that I'm trying to do is like, keep it simple, keep things simple, simplify where I can. And the thing is also, even if I did want to keep using that channel to, preserve the sub count or whatever, I wouldn't be able to change the name without gutting it for verification, and that there's no guarantee that I would get it back. And it's like, it's a
Right.
whole thing. It's a whole thing. So it's a lot simpler to just, hey, if you want the Let's Play stuff, it's still there. And I'll still one of these days when I actually get around to actually finishing Thousand Year Door, it'll be uploaded there in the old school style. Whereas everything that I'm focusing on right now can go on the new channel, and I can build it from the ground up with this new style of content that I'm trying to like get my head around right now.
Yeah. And ironically, like the newer channel will get a little bit more promo because of that. Because it's like,
Exactly.
it's a new channel. Give them some free like views so that they'll get hooked.
Exactly. In a weird way, yeah.
And they'll make more content for us.
Keep going.
Do it. I like this question from Brett. He asked, Brett GB, sorry. He asked, where are you both on parasocial relationships, and has your views on it changed over the years? If so, how? That's a really good question.
Hmm.
Because I feel like it's such a different answer from me than it would be for you.
Mm.
And for me, it's kind of like there's an obvious parasocial problem that
Mhm.
is also like unfairly weighted towards like women streamers and content creators than they are for men. It's a slightly more dangerous topic for women streamers than it is for men's like male streamers.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
my views on it haven't really changed all that much personally. Just because like I try to find some understanding as to like what causes parasocial relationships. A lot of it is like needing or this like hardcore desire to find community, and that community is then, you know, centered around this one person who
Mm.
is very willing in some cases to like talk about their day or their life. um but it's that one person talking to 20 people, and one of those 20 people is expecting you to like notice them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What do you mean by parasocial relationships? So the idea of parasocial relationships, and I'll try to do this very, very brief, but it's essentially the idea behind a one-sided relationship, in that because you are a public persona, or you know you become a public persona, people know a lot about you, even if you don't know a lot about the people who know about you. And it's this idea that like I, as a viewer, as a fan, am very well aware of like Masae and what she does and who she hangs out with and what video games she likes, but she doesn't know me, because that's not how the relationship works.
Mm.
So, or at least that's my understanding of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it can very easily get into like a slippery slide
Yeah.
of viewer being like, we're friends, right?
Yeah.
uh
Let's see.
it's definitely stuff like that. I don't think my views on it have changed very much at all over the years, because I've always been very much a person who's just like, if you're going to be in this community, you're going to get to know the community. I'm
Yeah.
a nerd. I am a nerd. I'm here to manage the community. I am here to provide the space and, you know, have some happy fun times and stuff. I've always been very like very careful with how I word things like that. But I do think that I do think over the years, with experience and with having had some unfortunate run-ins here and there, you take it and then you learn from it. I think over the years I have gotten better. I've gotten better at like drawing the boundaries and noticing them before they turn into something, you know,
Yeah.
something problematic.
Very
But
problematic.
I think especially in a way, now that I have taken the VTuber jump, I'm also very, very highly aware that the VTubing scene is very, very prone to that. I've seen it happen with my friends. I've seen it happen with like larger and smaller and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's like I know it's something that has been an issue, and it's always an issue, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So it's like I think since I've made the jump, and I'm not saying this out of like, oh, I've had bad experiences, because my community is great. They're amazing. I have had so few run-ins, which is a blessing. I'm so freaking thankful. But I'm also like, since I'm in the VTubing world now, that is also inviting a whole other subsect of fan base into into my general vicinity and general areas. So
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna be upfront. I'm gonna be like asterisk, 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 and be like, yo, I am just a nerd. I am
Terms
here
and
to
conditions.
entertain.
Yeah.
I am
Yeah.
an entertainer. I'll always be friendly, and I'll always be kind, and I'll always help out where I can, because I that's just what I like to do. I like to help people out where I am able.
Hmm.
But that's just the thing. It's where I am able and how I am able, in both ability and in just my own personal personal
Right.
boundaries and mental health. So I'm like,
Yeah.
it's always, I think for everyone, it's always a work in progress and figuring it out,
Yeah, and it's like it's a weird not a weird topic. It's like a sensitive topic, I guess, but I feel like, you know, more awareness on like that whole idea of the parasocial relationship, I think just kind of needs to happen because I feel
Yeah.
like if more people are aware of the idea, then what I hope is that people kind of see that
Yeah.
where they kind of realize, "Oh, I I might be heading down that path with like favorite
Yeah.
creator."
Yeah.
Um
Exactly.
and it's not a bad thing. Like that's what I was trying to say. Like I try to understand it. Everyone has a parasocial relationship to some degree with somebody. You
Hmm.
all know way more about a lot of like Hollywood people than you probably ought to. But
Hmm.
at the same time, it's that boundary that you push or like, squeak on through as to whether or not you become a problem or it becomes a problem for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
All right. I think we've done enough. We do have quite a few more questions, and I can maybe sprinkle some of this into our actual podcast episode. So, thank you
Yeah.
everyone for hanging out with us for the Q&A session. For all of you who are here, I can gift 5 memberships to the
Whoa.
channel. Apparently, I can do that.
Whoa.
So there you go. It's a random little gift sub bomb, but there you go. Uh,
That's so cool.
That is so yeah, you can gift 10 a month. And they let you do it in like 5 sub chunks. So we'll do 5 here and then we'll do 5 more at the end of the stream.
Wait, is it like
It's not per stream, it's like per month. So like when you
yeah,
give
no.
away your 10, then that's it until the next month. And then if they choose to continue the membership, they can. If not, then it will just go away after a month, and then you can give out 10 more the next month. So
Oh, but it's on YouTube. You didn't have to pay for that.
no, I didn't.
Oh, wait, that's actually really cool.
It is actually really cool, and you all get sub badges, and you all get emotes, and if you join our Discord, then you can get access to exclusive rooms and stuff like that.
Oh.
And then when you get monetized, you can do that.
Whoa! Ah! I'm gonna have to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, it's actually one of the best things they've done.
That'd be awesome if we could do that on Twitch.
Yeah, right? Without me paying for it?
Absolutely.
Amazon's not gonna let go of that money.
I know, right? God.
Wait, this is amazing tech. Hold up. It is, right?
I'm genuinely very impressed by that.
Yeah. I was just kind of like, no way they were actually just letting you do that. I don't think you get paid for that though. It's literally free, so I don't get anything from it. But it's literally just like the first taste is free, which means I need to continue making content.
Really cool.
So, all right. We're gonna take a break. I'm gonna run some ads. And then when we come back, we'll actually do the whole episode. All right.
Okay.
Let me make sure I do this correctly, and hopefully we'll go into our break screen, and then we'll be right back. That was all right. I had it on monitor and output. That was so loud. This been going on like that for years, and you guys haven't told me? That hurt my ears.
Maybe they just have their volumes down low. Maybe they didn't notice.
Chat's not gonna be able to hear the rest of this whole podcast. Hi, everyone. Told you what? Told me that, it's fine. Don't worry about it, guys. Hi, it's me. It's Laughingboy. Welcome to our very first episode 1 of our new podcast, Good Luck, Have Fun, the podcast formerly known as DialogBOX.
Yeah.
I'm still bringing in a new guest every month, and we're still talking about video games. But now I'm just taking the best parts of Let's Talk and DialogBOX, and I'm just merging it together to make a more fun, casual, and informative conversation about our lives and how we celebrate our love of video games through content creation.
Yeah.
Just scream for the rest of it to balance out the hearing damage. Okay, yeah, that'll fix it. Thanks, Onk. Or no, thanks, Mlep. Always a pleasure. Speaking of guests, our first guest for our first podcast of our evolved old podcasts, we have streamer and VTuber. You can find her on YouTube at Masae VT and Twitch at Masae without the VT. It's Masae. Hi.
That's me. Hello.
Look at that. Look at the three mouth. You look a little different since the last time we talked.
Maybe a little bit. Just an itty bitty little bit.
Isn't it just a smidge?
Slightly more anime, maybe.
Look, it's well, actually, if I'm really thinking about this, when I did the original interview between us, so for context viewers and listeners, way long ago, back in the days of 2015, when YouTube didn't have an algorithm. I'm telling you, it was back then. I didn't have any webcam. I just wanted audio, and then I spent like hours and hours trying to figure out how to make this work visually anyway. Because back then, in the year of our Lord 2015, webcams weren't that good, and you didn't have VTubers. Well,
True.
yeah, I don't think you did.
No, VTubers was relatively very recent.
Yeah. Maybe 2019, 2018? No, there's got to be.
I feel like 2017, the very first ones. Yeah? Question mark?
2016. We got
2016?
Faylina Luna in chat telling us 2016. That only a year later?
Wow. Oh, it was super niche though. Like no one knew about it really back then.
Yeah.
And then it especially exploded in 2020.
Yeah, I think like especially when because I know that like VTubing really, I'm pretty sure started in, was it Japan and or Korea? I'm really showing my ignorance here.
I also don't know. So
and then it got adopted by a lot of us over in the West, but that was I think like 2020 was when, I mean it's a much more accessible. Well,
it's
okay.
so much more accessible now.
It's more accessible, sort of. The one thing I think the one thing that I was surprised at was when you and I started talking about your rebranding. And I was like, so like, how much did it cost?
Too much.
And you gave me a number, and I was like, I will never do this.
Yeah, no, it was, and I say too much loosely because the work and the amount of effort that goes into making something like this is staggering.
Yeah.
And it is 100% deserved, especially with the quality that my artist and rigger put into this. So it's like if it were any cheaper, really, it would have been a steal. But
right.
it is prohibitively expensive if you want something custom. But also there's definitely a wide range, because nowadays I'm seeing some rigs out there and some artists that can really do a lot and do it quickly. And I'm sure that's also the technology evolving with the VTubing atmosphere, right?
Yeah, and probably just like a requirement of, there are so many people that want this now that we have to figure something out to make this faster.
Exactly. So there's like tons of amazing artists that can do it on a budget and do it really, really well. And there's also a lot of pre-mades out there now. So even on that front, it's a lot more accessible, where it's like it might not be like the most custom thing. However, there's like customizable pre-mades where you can just like choose your hair, choose your everything, choose
Yeah.
what kind of animal ears you want on it, etc.
Yeah, just do whatever.
Do whatever, yeah. So it's definitely different now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for me, it was something where like I would sort of maybe want to do VTubing
Hmm.
only because sometimes it's kind of like, for me, I have felt uncomfortable in front of the camera, right?
Same.
And I kind of get over it by just pretending that I am fine with it, even though I'm not. And I just kind of keep doing that because I guess denial is cheaper than buying a VTuber kit. It's much more frugal for me to just pretend that I don't look bad and instead of just like doing that. But
you look just fine, my guy.
well,
Stop it.
Yeah. Previous guest Sab Irene has one of those pre-made models. Oh, good to know.
Yeah, it looks really good.
I also feel like I could have just gone the route of like PNG tubing as well. I feel like that could just be easier.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And you've always had like a specific style to your kind of branding, yeah.
Yeah, Tabby makes me look like somebody that's cool, and it's crazy.
You are cool. Stop that.
It looks cool.
You
Maybe I'm cool on the inside.
Stop it.
Yeah. Well, okay.
That's my friend you're talking about.
Yeah, don't make fun of my friend.
I'll fight you.
Yeah,
I'll fight you. No one makes fun of my friend like that.
I'll beat you up.
Well, I will.
Please stop. I'm your friend.
I'll do it.
So I guess like I'm rebranding, you're rebranding. This kind of worked out.
It kind of did, right?
I was like, what better first guest than somebody else who's also trying to like basically be like, yeah, I'm gonna do this now.
Yeah.
The beatings will continue until self-love improves. Okay, that's good. I like that. That's the name of the episode.
Oh shit! Is that what I sound like?
Wait, did you just hear yourself? Is that what's happening?
I mean, I'm finding out now.
Well, I can't help you there. I mean, you sound fine. I mean, that's what I probably should have said instead of like the kind of shittier thing that I did say. I'm a great host. But like, what were like the biggest difficulties or hurdles you had to jump through in order to like to do a rebranding the way that you've done it?
Anxiety.
Go on.
Okay. So like there's definitely a comfort in doing what you know works.
Right.
There's a comfort and there's a sense of security doing something that you know can float you. Like obviously I wasn't like blowing up or anything, but like, you know, the Masae and Holo channel was successful. It was great.
Yeah.
I've been doing it for God, a lot of years. I can't even count it right now.
A very long time.
2009. 16 years? God.
That's 16. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, it is. Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
it is 16 years. It is 16 years.
Your
so
career's in high school.
Yeah.
Can drive in some states.
17. I was 17, dude, when I started getting everything together. So it's like it's I think it's just getting over being scared of disappointing anyone. you know?
Yeah.
Because like people expect me to do one thing forever and that's it. And it's like
I just want you to do the same content. Hey,
is
look,
that
you've done it
true?
half your life already. What's
What's
another?
half more?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's, I think a lot of it is just the mental, just overcoming the mental barriers and like the, oh, am I doing this for no reason? Like, does this really matter at all? You
Mm,
know?
yeah.
And so, and especially since I kept it so close to my chest for forever. I didn't mention it to anyone that I was doing this except for, friends and stuff. But and the way of people in my community, no one knew anything. People would ask me and I was like actively in the works of it and I'd be like, "Lol, wouldn't that be something?" And I'd move on and change the subject.
Yeah, that would be so funny and weird.
Whoa, that would be something else. So, like, getting to the point where I had enough self confidence to be able to push through and kind of get over the self doubt and the like, is this even really worth it? Do I really want to do this? If I just abandon this channel, which I didn't abandon it, by the way, it's just a hobby now. So, just putting that asterisk right there before someone gets on me for it. We're doing 1,000 years later. It'll be a long time. I'm not gonna lie to you. It'll be a while. But also, to shift my main focus to something else entirely, even though it's still me, it's something new. And
Yeah.
change is always hard. Change is always hard. But it's also just like, if I don't change, then I'm just gonna quit. Because it's like you burn out. You burn out, you kind of keep doing the same thing over and over and over for years and years and years and years, and it was just, I was tired.
Yeah.
I was
No.
tired. The excitement wasn't there, and I think admitting to myself that the excitement wasn't there like it used to be was really hard, because
Yeah.
that's my entire life.
Well, and it's like to have to admit to yourself that like, okay, this isn't hitting the way it used to.
Yeah, it's not working anymore.
It's not like an easy thing to come to grips with, because then like the big question is like, okay, now what?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly.
And I guess it's not as simple as, you know, let's just change.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think the other thing is that, when I don't know if maybe a lot of your community was thinking one way or the other about it. Did you feel like there may have been some like anxiety in the community? It's like, oh, like how are things going to change? Because I don't think, other than the fact that you are now like anime, and besides one other thing, it's pretty much been like the same, you know?
Yeah, yeah, it's been pretty much the same. I think personally, I was very lucky in that I kind of already had that branding in a sense. Not completely, but like I always had the chibi. I always had, the anime presence because I would draw my own anime and then I would like, use that as the branding and the front. And I think being being able to lean on that and be like, it's basically that, but it's basically what I wanted it to be in the first place, but didn't exist back in 2010, 2011, when I was like doing the chibi pop-ups and stuff. But that, like, in a weird way, what I really wanted to do with it was VTubing, but I didn't have the knowledge or the vision to even predict that
Right.
that would actually become a mainstream thing or something that is even in the realm of like technology can do this. This is something that technology can do. And So I think for me and my community, they were already used to me being anime
Yeah.
and having anime represent me, right? Obviously it's a little bit more animated now and a little bit more interactive, and I think being able to kind of sell it on that standpoint of just like it's basically just the chibi got stretched out and now it's gonna be a bit more
Now,
it's gonna be more interactive. I think it just got people excited for it more than anything else.
yeah, yeah, Cactus A basically summed it up. It's anime and swearing. Otherwise, like, it's pretty much the same. I remember when Masae was just a voice. I remember when you was completely
Yeah.
invisible and was just the whispers in the wind.
Yeah, everyone thought I was blonde, you know.
Wait, is that a thing?
That was a thing
That's a
early on, very early on. There was
Everyone thought you was a blonde?
Yeah. And people were, there was a good subsect of people who were surprised when they saw me IRL at a convention or whatever. But there was a bunch of people who just had like a mental image of me in their head and I was blonde. I don't know. Obviously that hasn't come into play in a very long time because that was back when, that was back when I outright refused to be in pictures and on video and on camera. And I was dodging photos at like MagFest when our friends would like, do the vlogging thing. And I would run anywhere else and I would sprint away. So people had like their head canons of what I looked like IRL. And obviously not a big deal now. Everyone knows what I look like. But yeah, it's definitely been an evolution where it's like I've never personally done the cam thing. And the only reason is because I hate cameras and I don't want to have to get all done up for every single stream. That sounds like hell. That is my own personal hell. That is hell.
You
I
know,
quit.
that is it's such a big thing for me because as a guy, I literally don't do anything. I go on camera and I press start and I'm just kind of like I look like whatever I'm gonna look like because I don't have to worry about that. But there have been so many times where I've done a co-op stream or a podcast, and I try to like let whoever know as far ahead of time as possible
Right.
that like I used to say like webcam is always encouraged but never required. Like just let me know. And there were
Right.
so many times where I would have like somebody basically come and ask like, do I have to have webcam on because I don't have makeup on and I don't want to put makeup on right now. And I was like,
Sure that I was probably at like 3 or 4 or 5 of those times until you were like, you will never be on camera.
I don't know if I ever was just kind of like, oh, she'll just never do it because at first the only reason why I never did webcam for Let's Talk was because I felt like webcams were still so bad at the time that I couldn't rely on like a content creator having a good webcam or not.
That's also true. That is also true.
But nowadays, like it's so different. So not only can I assume that a content creator will have a decent microphone, but now I can assume that they'll have a decent webcam. And if they don't have a decent webcam, I can also assume that they might be a VTuber. I mean, you have to have a decent... That's the thing, though. You have to have a webcam of some kind because it's motion tracking, right?
Yeah, it's you can do either webcam, but the recommended is actually an iPhone.
Oh, right. Because you can just get like an app, right?
Yeah, well, it's more so that the camera itself has like I don't know what technology it is. All I know is that iPhone X and above has a certain type of tracking, like facial tracking.
Oh, right.
That was not and is not available on any other like cell phone camera or webcam camera. I think it has more to do with like depth. Like it can see the depth of like your face, and it creates a mask over your face. It's specifically
Oh.
for like filters and stuff like that.
True depth camera, and Felina in chat
Yeah,
was recommending iPhone with Face ID or A12 Bionic or newer.
that
Felina's like basically provided so much VTuber context that I can, the next interview I get to do with a VTuber, I'll be like, I know what I'm talking
I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm actually the VTuber. I'm like, I don't know.
about. I don't know why it works. It just do.
It just worked.
It just do.
It just do the thing, and people told me to get this thing, so I got it.
I got the phone. I got the phone to do the camera.
I got the phone.
We all have phones. I actually do use my phone as a webcam, though, for the couch, because it's the only
Oh,
way I
there
can
you
do it
go.
wirelessly.
Oh, that makes sense.
This whole thing behind me should not work.
But it do.
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 Like, what it, so, talking about the tech behind it, but I also think there's some additional things. Like, what is something about VTubing that you didn't know when you, well, other than how it works, but like, what's something about VTubing that you didn't know, and then like as you started to like go through the process and you actually started VTubing, you're just kind of like, oh wow, okay, I didn't know that before. Like, I didn't know how this worked, or what I had to think about, or what I had to do in order to make this work.
Yeah. Well, I actually have two answers for this. The first one is that I didn't realize how much of the lively tracking and the motions is actually just like the person exaggerating their motions. Like, because there's actually a big difference, and I kind of started learning from it by like trying to figure out and googling a bunch, like how to make rig look better, you know, how make look better. And this is before I even had my rig, right?
Yeah.
This is before I even had anything set up, but I just wanted the knowledge. And there's like a very large difference, because if I just like stay still and talk and like just stare into the camera, there's really not a whole ton of movement or personality, or obviously there's some personality, like when I blink, that's kind of automatic.
Right.
Not the
Well,
blinking itself, but like the movement.
yeah.
And,
Like, I
and
can see some, it's pretty sensitive in that, like, you're moving no matter what, because that's how our bodies work. But
yeah.
I think, like, the biggest detail I've noticed is the mouth,
Cool.
where you really have to, like, make your mouth move. So, like, I'm imagining if, like, we suddenly turn off this webcam and you see the person behind this. Yeah, perfect. See, why didn't you do these facial expressions?
It's hard.
The one that I used,
Real doofy IRL.
the one that I used, I thought was really good for the thumbnails and all that. But now that you're showing me this tech, I'm looking for the yeah, there you go. Yeah, give me the sideways meh face. There. Oh, look at that. That's attitude. Katagi in chat's saying, that makes sense. I think cartoons and stuff like fighting games use exaggerated motions to convey something better than if it were constrained to realism. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, it's basically the same concept as that, because it's like, if I'm not a very animated person by nature, and it is very sensitive, so I kind of have it tweaked to the way that I move. So it's pretty one-to-one, but I do have to like exaggerate and kind of bounce a little bit more than I've ever had to before, when I was just a little PNG walking, like bouncing up and down. But it's also like when I talk, and I think I was actually thinking about this, because when I made the switch, a lot of people were telling me that I sound a lot more excitable and a lot more energetic, which is true, because I'm a lot happier. I'm having
it kind of comes with feeling fulfilled.
It does, but I'm kind of also realizing that some of it is also because I'm exaggerating my mouth too, just to get the mouth movements in
Mm-hmm.
there. So it's like wow, wow, wow. Because if I mumble and I don't really like move, like this is me just speaking normally
Mm-hmm.
and kind of like, I mumble a little bit and it doesn't really capture the oohs and ahs very well unless I really go for it and enunciate, which is honestly kind of a great exercise in
Yeah.
speaking loud and speaking proud and making sure that I'm getting all of my vowels in there and not muttering all the time like I do.
I mean, I think what's very interesting for me is that, my old perception of VTubing was, okay, so if you're not comfortable with having webcam, maybe you have like poor self perception like I do, or maybe you like just don't feel comfortable. Then VTubing is a way to like, you know, bypass that where you can still have some
Yep,
kind of persona on camera.
that's me.
But I feel like you have to there are other aspects of being an effective VTuber where all of the things that you felt like, or maybe I would feel like I'd be avoiding by VTubing, I'm not.
Mm.
Because now
Mhm.
it's like I still have to do the same things I would if I had a webcam on. I just
Right.
don't look like me. I can look like whatever I want.
Right, 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 right. No, that makes sense.
I think like if it was definitely in the budget. I mean, I feel like I think you and I, God, I'm just like, uh, but when you and I were talking about the cost, I
Mhm.
definitely in my head was thinking that, okay, like this is something that makes sense for you because like this is streaming is your life. It's been
Yeah.
apparently half your life.
Yeah.
And you are successful. Like you have made success on both platforms. Like you are a Twitch partner back before partner was a thing. You've been able to monetize this and make a living off of this. And I think that makes sense as to why it's an investment. Like you are investing
It
in yourself.
is.
And that was why I was like, I don't think I could do that. And only because like I can allow myself to like be on webcam, but also, and I'm not saying that nobody else can. I don't
Mm.
mean to say it. It's a really, I try to be sensitive about that. But, you know, there is so much that goes into VTubing that I feel like it's not something that you can just be like, I kind of want to do that. And then just like do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the exception would be uh like I was talking about earlier, the pre-mades, the
Yeah, that's fair.
customizable pre-mades, and because those are becoming more common, it's in a way becoming more accessible for people with like tighter budgets, which is really really cool. But I think a lot of people kind of get hung up on, if I'm going to do it, then I want it to be completely mine.
Yeah,
I want to be
exactly.
unique, which is also valid. And I mean, I say that with this model that is unique to me, but it's also like for a lot of people not practical to go into it immediately, especially when you might try VTubing and you might hate it, you know?
Yeah.
You might try it and it'd be like, wow, having to do this kind of movement and being conscious of like every single way that I move this puppet around.
Yeah.
Some people hate that and they don't know that they hate it until they actually give it a go, which is where again the pre-mates are a great starting spot
Or even just like
and to figure it
again,
out.
PNG tubing, I feel like
Oh
is still
yeah.
a very viable option depending on. I think it just largely depends on what are you looking for when you go this route.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly. I think it's important to kind of take tabs on that and ask yourself that of like what do you want out of this, you know?
Yeah.
And how practical is it for your personal standpoint right now where you are? because I have seen people like pour everything into it and crash and burn, and it's so sad every single time. I'm like, yikes.
Well, and I do you feel more exhausted post stream now than you did before?
Mm. In a weird way, yes and no. I think because I'm getting more satisfaction out of it, mentally, I'm thriving. And mentally after a stream, I can think about all of the funny things that happened or something that really stood out to me and I giggle about it. And so it gives back to me in a way. However, it is physically much more draining. I am physically dying. But I don't mind because my brain is telling me to keep on going and my brain is telling me, "Hey, you're having fun." And I'm like, "Yeah, you're right. I'm having fun."
I have to remember, I'm having fun.
It's definitely just different. And oh, something else that kind of is a learning curve a little bit
Yeah.
is being conscious of the tracking in the sense of like I can't block my face with anything. I had to reposition the mic because I would have the mic like up a little bit and kind of right in front of my face. Now
Probably
I need
like
to have
this.
it down. Yeah, so it doesn't block any of my face from the camera. It's also like I can't scratch my eye without my model freaking out. I have to make sure that nothing blocks my face, and that's including this is something I've started doing recently. So I wear glasses,
Yeah.
right? And I have found that I have to like if I want to adjust my glasses, which my glasses are a disaster. It's a wireframe that I made myself, just some context for the audio podcast.
Yeah. Yes.
It's not
Thank you for
great.
telling everyone who listens to the audio version of this podcast that you don't treat yourself very well.
Shut up. Anyway, so my glasses naturally kind of slip down my face after a little bit, especially if I'm moving around.
Mhm.
So I have to keep pushing it up and kind of adjust the ears a little bit. However, I can't do that because I started doing this. So what I started doing is reaching up and over and like grabbing it from the top of my head.
Oh.
Pulling it up.
Okay.
It's really janky. I'm doing it right now and it doesn't affect it as bad. But it's being conscious of everything between me and the camera and not letting it interrupt the tracking.
That reminds me of back when like everyone was going wild over Code Miko, the 3D VTuber. So like she has a 3D model that she wears a bodysuit in order for the motions and everything to be tracked.
Yeah.
I remember she was like, "Oh, I have to go." Like, I can't remember if she had to take a break. She basically had to take a break. And she's like, "You're about to see something really cursed because I have to take my suit off."
Oh no!
And so she starts taking the bodysuit off, and you just see the 3D model just like curl in and just like die.
That sounds amazing. I need to find that. I need to find that.
Code Miko basically was like, what if like, and it was really, I mean, she has a great sense of humor too. But like everything about her streams, especially when she just started like making waves, because I think she's like a hardcore developer or something like that. So she basically, if I remember correctly, almost everything she does is like totally custom. So,
that's pretty awesome. That's amazing.
And the fact that she's also able to make herself live in a 3D virtual space is incredible work. But I mean, there's just so many things that you can do with VTubing now that just were not possible back in apparently 2016. Mletpren asks, have you thought of getting one of those bands to hold your glasses up?
The problem runs deeper than that right now.
I need to go see a doctor.
Shut up. Leave me alone.
Who probably should give me new lenses on top of new frames.
I am scared that my vision has gotten worse. I don't even want to hear it.
My favorite part about all of this is that the frames are cheaper than the lenses. You could just get new frames. You don't have to get new lenses.
Well, no, because these frames aren't built for that. These are.
Well, they're not built for much anymore.
Shut up! How dare you? My poor glasses are putting in work. But no.
Yeah, like, kill me.
Shut up.
Please end this.
Okay, but like these specific type of glasses, I think they're called silhouettes, and they are frameless, and they are drilled directly into the frame.
Oh, okay,
into
that's
the
what you
glasses.
mean. Yep.
Yeah, they're like where the frames connect on the side, like the earpiece, it's supposed to be drilled into the lens itself.
Okay. So you probably would need a whole.
I would need to get everything done again.
But you know, that can wait.
Yeah, it can. It's still working. It hasn't fallen apart yet.
Yes, it has. It has fallen apart many times.
I said again. Oh God, I'm looking at my audio file, and I don't know why there are so many peaks. I'm sorry, Dan. I'm sorry.
Yes. Dan,
Anyway.
our audio editor, who honestly I have forgotten to credit every single time, but we keep mentioning him. So I guess people have to know. Yeah, I don't do my own editing.
Sorry, Dan.
We love you, Dan. So actually, we have a couple of questions that I originally had in our Q&A, which if you are an audio listener, you can always go to youtube.com/laughingboylp. You can join us live when we do this, and then you get to ask questions.
You should do that.
You should do that, because you don't get the Q&A part if you're an audio listener. You don't. But we did have a couple of questions. So one from Jaboka asks, with Masae's rebranding and the invasion of the podcast, do the others on the call know or have seen VTubers? And if so, which ones appeal to you? Masae doesn't count, as she's a close friend. I'm talking those you don't talk to. Which is great, because I didn't know we were friends. But that's also the thing, because like there's maybe two other, because almost every VTuber I know, like I know.
Right.
Because like when I saw this question earlier, my mind immediately went to like, well, you know, John does, Tom does, John does, Tom does. Oh fuck. I'm going in a loop. But like
Reese, I'm helping you, Reese.
Reese. Oh shit, Reese does. Yeah, she has like 3 models.
I'm helping you.
God, I'm so look. I'm gonna look through. Who do I follow on Blue Sky? Anyway, but yeah, it's like if I Filthy Pizza is a PNG tuber, that counts. A certain bear that's a bunny. Oh yeah, Jared. You know what? I'll use Jared as my answer, because
bear.
That's
bear.
Caxa, you're talking about Jared, right? Please tell me you're talking about Jared. Reese has several.
Bear?
Yes. I'm trying to think of who that is, because like I'm thinking of a bunny. I meant Sarah. Oh fuck. Yeah, Sarah Bear. She's a VTuber. Where does the bear come in? It's in her name.
Sarah Bear.
Sarah Bear.
Oh, I was so confused, because I also thought of Jared, and I was also thinking like the other terminology of bear, and I'm like, Jared's not a bear. What? I was like, that's not the description I would say for Jared. But okay, I was very confused.
I'm glad that's where your mind went.
Look, it's 9:30. It's 9:30. The sun is down. I can say things. Whatever.
I mean, that's anime and swearing. That's what you're all about now. Was Portal 2 part of this rebranding? Where you're just like, oh fuck, I'm a VTuber, I can play Portal now?
I mean, yes and no. I always wanted to play Portal 2, and because I had meant to play it a lot sooner, but then I decided to take the jump, and I was like, you know what, that would be a great VTuber stream, and so I did hold off for it.
Oh,
Because I was like,
interesting.
that would be really fun to have like the facial expressions because I know it's a funny game, and I was like, oh, that would be great. So I did hold off for Portal 2.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So, I guess back to the question, like, I guess when I think of like a VTuber that I don't personally know it in any way, shape, or form, like, Inugami Korone was like one big one that I was like especially when she first came onto the scene, I was like, she was so fucking funny, just
Have
playing.
confidence.
No confidence.
I love her.
Nom 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 nom.
Yubi.
Ekom Bokom. Korone debuted in 2019. Mifa Streams was a precursor to the current shenanigans. Oh yeah, I still want you to do the thing where like Mifa becomes more and less realistic.
Oh, I'm thinking about it. I don't know how I could get that to work on the back end, but I really want to. Genuinely, I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Cause like you showed me stuff, and one of them was just a bunch of different Mifas, and I was like, one of them was so realistic looking, like,
It was wild.
not photorealistic, but it was detailed.
It was so detailed. Okay, check that. Okay, Buddha Raccoon is the artist for the Mifa model. You know, I'm just gonna very quickly. Ta-da! Buddha Raccoon is the artist for this model, and she gave me 3 options. This is the middle option.
Mhm.
This was the middle option, and this is the one that I picked, and I was like, oh, that's perfect. She also gave me one that was basically an Angry Bird, where she was just an orb. And then there was another one, which is the one that Andrew's like really fascinated with. It was so realistic. It had like a long tail that was like really like fancy and had like little curls in it, and it had like really detailed little feathers, and it was like, oh my god. The best way I can describe it is regal. It was
Yeah.
very regal, and I still have the sketches, and one of these days I'm gonna tap her again and be like, hey,
Make it.
remember these sketches that you did ages ago? What if we just did that? What if we just
What if you just
for the
made
funsies?
it? Wouldn't that be like super funny?
I think it'd be funny.
I think it'd be like really funny if I gave you like money and you just made the bird.
I would laugh so hard. Oh, goodness gracious.
But yeah, what VTubers do you have an interest in that you don't personally know?
I don't personally know. I've always liked Okayu and Korone. Korone and Okayu are both high up on my list. As for like ones that might be Now I'm thinking.
Right?
Now I'm thinking.
I
Gosh. Because
like-
it really is that thing where it's just like I know a lot of VTubers, and it's like trying to not grab for people that I know is hard.
Well, it's like, I guess, you know, I also like, you know, some of the people that I do know, I guess, you know, I do see Sarah Bear as a VTuber. I know that Tom does VTubing and knows a lot of VTubers that way.
He does know a lot of VTubers.
But you know, I when I saw that question, it was really hard for me to not think of somebody that I didn't already know. And that's not even me saying, "Oh, I know a lot of people." It's just that when I thought about, my brain just immediately went to people I already know.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think my answer would be Okayu and Korone because those were the two that I watched way before it was like accessible, and before VTubing back when they debuted.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh, this is the coolest thing. I wasn't like like watching them all the time or anything, but I knew the memes and I watched some of their compilations. I was like, oh, this is real cute. I like this a lot. So they kind of ping in my brain first and foremost. Though I will say that Jaboka was the one who asked this, right? Jaboka has very graciously got me tickets for the Hollow Live festival. That's like basically an online concert, and he's done that for like the past 3 years. And I'm very very grateful. But I have fallen in love with Towa's voice, specifically her music. I don't know anything about her as like an actual like what she does as a VTuber creator, but gosh, Toa has just like that deep voice, and for me it cracks me up because she's like tiny little anime girl that's like super super small, and I was just like, oh, that's so cute. And then she opens her mouth and this big powerful voice comes out of her. I'm like, oh my god.
I told you we were out of glitter.
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much the vibe. I'm like, oh my god. But she's like, her vocal chops are stunning.
That's crazy. But I guess like I wonder if that's just now that it's like if I were to say this in Japanese, I would be like, oh, Sasuga, blah blah. And it's just like, yes, as expected of people in that group would probably be decent performers, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
And have vocal ranges.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very, very stunning. But I mean, Hololive is definitely leans idol culture, though.
Yes.
So they probably look for that specifically.
I'm trying to think. There's another. There's somebody like you were talking about specifically. You don't haven't seen their streams, but you've seen like them. You've listened to their voices, and that just reminded me of another one who used to do vocal covers, and now I can't remember her name.
Amelie?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
She's now a VTuber. Girl, she has been a
She's
VTuber.
She's in Bishoujo now.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, she's a Bishoujo girl. Bless her. She's killing it.
That's wild. I thought about asking this during the Q&A session but I also feel like this is important because we've, if you want to talk about, what's it like to be a content creator, we've done a whole ass interview talking about content creation and things like that. And obviously some things have changed, and I think that's basically what we've discussed here. But I kind of like this because this question does come up every now and then, because I think this is single-handedly the hardest thing about streaming. So this is from Jory, and he writes, I'm a newbie streamer, and one of my biggest things I'm struggling with is having people to talk to while I stream. I have about 100 followers, but I usually only have 2 to 3 people in chat on an average good day, if that. I'm very grateful to whoever is in my chat and anyone that lurks, but I wish I had more people to joke around with. I've had guests on the show, which definitely helped, and here's the question. Do you have any advice on how to keep streaming interesting when you have no one to talk to on call or in chat? And I felt that in my core, because when I started content creating, I almost exclusively was doing collaborative stuff. And that was kind of based on the anxiety of like, I can't do this alone.
Right.
And there's absolutely no shame in like bringing your IRL friends in and just like doing whatever. And honestly, like, even though I've become more comfortable with, solo streams, which really only happened like within the last 2 years. That's why like this couch you see behind me is such a big thing in terms of my content, because like I've just kind of really heavily leaned into collaborative stuff, because oddly enough found that harder to set up than it is to actually do, than it would
Right.
be to just stream on my own. So what would you say, like, how do you kind of get through and become, I guess not become
Mhm.
more engaging, but like, what are the things you think about when you're trying to like engage with chat?
So, hmm. This is actually a very interesting question because I think my perspective on this might be a little bit skewed because I got into the streaming game a little bit later in the grand scheme of things
Mm-hmm.
because I had already started on YouTube. I was already doing the YouTube thing, and when I actually like went into the streaming thing, I was already quote unquote established in the sense of like I had already done the ground floor, run up the hill, and I just carried the YouTube vibe over to Twitch.
Right.
However, I think that also like that practice that I had on YouTube would lend itself well to streaming with a quieter chat. Because I've also had those days where my chat is like particularly quiet and it's fine. But that's just because I can lean back on my let's player mentality.
Yeah. And
I can really just sit and riff on a game and talk to myself because that's all I did
yeah.
for God so many years. And so for me, it's second nature in the sense of like I love talking to chat and I love having the interaction, but I also don't need it for me to be able to just talk about the game and talk to myself and beat myself up when something stupid happens
Right.
or cheer myself on when something cool happens. It's just so at this point hardwired into me that I would just find company in myself. I
Yeah.
find company in myself to just play the game and enjoy the experience and just blah. I blah my thoughts. Something happens on the screen, I blah it. Something happens in the game that reminds me of something in my life, I blah it. And I keep on blahing until someone shows up and they're like, "Hi." And I'm like, "Hello."
Blah.
Blah.
I mean, hi.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was another thing too, is that not only is this a question that I think like it, oddly enough, it's the only all the questions that I had were all pretty much unique, which I think has been great.
Mhm.
But I always feel like when it comes to anybody trying to stream for the first time, this is such a problem because and when I say a problem, it's not like, oh, it's your fault. It's that is always a thing where people realize this is the hardest part about streaming. And I think these days not it's not enough to commentate. You also have to, or some people don't, and they work off that. But
Mhm.
there's an idea of engaging, being
Right.
engaging with chat, getting chat to like respond, because
Right.
we view that as we view that feedback, and a lot of streamers, especially in the first time, they need that feedback.
Mhm.
Um, and I like the idea that essentially, yeah, it's like you have to turn on like a let's player brain. Um,
Mhm.
like even my wife has talked about like, oh, I've thought about like, what if I streamed, but then I she just doesn't have the confidence, and a lot of it is just kind of like, I don't know, like it's not that I can't tell her what to do, it's just that you have to then do it and then figure it out, and then like you get more
Yeah,
comfortable with the idea as you go along.
exactly.
Um, and it's like I like what Mlep said in chat, which is just the rubber duck. Think out loud, almost as if you were explaining your thought process to a rubber duck. Reacting to the game and putting your thoughts out is a good place to start. And what I was really doing for a long time is like I was watching a lot of Markiplier streams,
Mm.
and it's because he is like a Let's Player. He grew up in like the Let's Play climate around the same
Yeah,
like
yeah.
2010, that kind of that era. Um, and there you have to have a certain energy, but like you don't have to copy everything. But like I thought about, what is he talking about, like what is he looking at, what is he doing, because he doesn't have like when you watch these let's plays, there is no chat, but there's always talking.
Yeah. Yes.
And so it's like, well, okay, if I don't have a chat to talk to, because a lot of like first advice is usually like, okay, even if you have nobody in chat, like you have to talk because you don't know who's going to walk into your stream. So like,
Exactly.
yeah, really think about what you can talk about. And that's hard. It's
It is
really hard.
It's super hard, especially if you're getting into it for the first time. And I think a lot of people get hung up on chat these days
Yeah.
because it's like when you're streaming, it's a part of it's a part of it. Like
Yeah.
chat, you have it on your brain. You're always thinking about like, oh, will someone show up? Blah blah blah. And that in itself is such a mental block that it can kind of get in you get in your own way in a sense because you're thinking too much about the eyes that could potentially be on you.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're making a video, like back in Yi Let's Play days, it's like no one's watching you, and no one's watching you, and you
Yep.
gotta like talk no matter what. And so you're talking, and the views from that come afterwards. And then that's a whole other can of worms, is getting too obsessive about your analytics and whatever. But in the sense of like recording it, you don't have that hang up of like, oh, but I have a chat right here. I need to entertain this person actively. And if they leave, then I'm a failure.
Yeah.
And that trips people up so much. And
Yep.
it's like all it takes is that one time when you see someone pop in and then pop out, and then you get in your head, it's like, what did I do? Did I say something wrong? Is this not like, am I boring? Where it's like, it's not your fault. It's just people are gonna come in and then they're gonna go out, and then some people are gonna stick around. Like,
Yeah.
it's all a roll of the dice at that point. But it's just you really have to, in a weird way, keep an eye on chat because you want to be able to respond to it when it does happen, but also put it out of your mind in the sense of like you can't obsess over it while you're on.
Yeah, it's kind of like chat is a benefit, not a requirement. It's like
Yes.
and that is an issue. It's like so I've been on and off streaming for a long time. Like I would say when I first started streaming was like 2014, 2015. And I stopped streaming for a really long time because it was just people started seeing me as a Splatoon streamer. I was like, well, I don't want to do that, and then I just stopped. I wasn't even that good. But then when I finally like really came back to streaming with like Zelda Universe and things like that, it was always this rough hill of like, especially when I'm streaming with my friends or doing collabs, you're focused on that like camaraderie between the people that you're talking to. So you're not really focusing on chat, or chat gets lost sometimes. And honestly, it's like it is a skill that you have to learn, and you don't learn it in your first year. I really didn't even start getting a chatty community until maybe the last like 2 years, where I now feel really confident and positive about doing a stream, because I'm just kind of like, I know my community is going to be there. I don't even think about this anymore. And that took years.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have like, I have like, what, 1,400 followers, and typically I get less than 10% of the, but like, that you have to think about what is it that really matters. And, part of that is trying to figure out, do you want to be engaging? Because if you don't, then engaging is going to be really fucking hard. But if not, then what do you want to do with streaming? And I'm not saying that you definitely shouldn't if you can't answer that question, but like, it's just these things that you not only have to think about, but then you have to practice.
Yeah. It takes so much practice, and I think it's interesting because I don't think people realize how much practice it takes to be able to keep talking and to like get into the right headspace for it, because it doesn't. And people, I mean, these days instant gratification is everywhere. Everyone wants instant gratification on so many things, and it's like It's a skill set.
Yeah.
And like all this skill set also needs nurturing and practice and patience with yourself, and allow yourself to explore and figure out what works for you.
Yeah.
And your answer is going to change over time. And that's okay too. You don't have to stick with the same answer all of the time, but and it's all about, in a weird way, it is about learning more about yourself in the process and figuring out where you are and what kind of goals you want to pursue.
Yeah.
So because everyone has a different answer. Everyone does.
Yeah, one of the things that I learned very fast when I was doing Let's Talk, and like I didn't get through a lot of content creators, but I got to meet a lot of content creators that never wound up on the show, and I talked with them, and what I think I realized is that, especially for a lot of the earlier content creators that just found success because it was just a smaller space, it's really hard for them to then turn around and be like, this is what you got to do for success, because they're like, I don't know. Like the biggest answer has always been like, I don't know how I became successful.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just make content and you pray that like it gets found. Yeah. And the sea is so much bigger, and not to sound really negative about it, but it just means that like there's nothing personal either.
Yeah.
It's an uncaring algorithm. It doesn't pick favorites unless you start putting in money and become a shareholder. But anyway, so I did want to talk. So one of the things I really wanted to do with this podcast is not just talk about like content creation, but also video games. We talk. I think you and I like video games a little bit.
Maybe a little bit.
Today they just announced a goddamn Nintendo Direct on top of the Nintendo Direct we're getting next week.
What the hell? Actually, what in the world? That caught me complete. I mean, it caught everyone off guard, but I'm also just like, are you really? Like, okay. To be fair, anything that they announce for this thing, for this direct,
whatever this is,
whatever they announce for it is still going to be relevant for the Switch 2, like no matter what, because it's going to be backwards compatible. It's whatever. And also the Switch also still has like, a good, I don't know, several more months of lifespan left. So it could just be like a couple of games and maybe some expansion pass updates or whatever.
Yeah.
For the retro stuff. But again, it's still going to be relevant in the sense of like, oh, whatever gets announced tomorrow, I can just put off until until I get my Switch 2.
I mean, that's the thing, and that's why I guess when the rumors started popping up, it's like, okay, they're not gonna like, why would you announce a bunch of games now when you do have like a new system coming out, and that new system people are going to want to maybe save up for? So, it would be one thing if they had, or to me, it would have been one thing if they had already done the Switch 2 reveal and they did their hardware discussion, and then like, oh, by the way, let's talk about games. Because I'm also thinking about it as a partner, not even as Nintendo. Like, do I want, it means that I can't have this game that I want to have out on Switch 2. I can't talk about that until either, I mean, they might talk about software on April 2nd. We don't know.
Yeah.
But do I then have to wait until another Nintendo Direct, especially as an indie? Like, do I have to wait now for people to know, like, oh, by the way, you can get your, the same game on Switch 2?
Yeah.
I mean, it's weird. I guess.
It's really weird.
Is there anything that you're like hoping for that they'll talk about?
Yeah. Metroid Prime 2 and 3 remastered. I just want it. I just like that. I really like the first one, and 2 and 3 are hard to get a hold of now. So I'm like, you know what? Just I don't care. Just throw that in there. Just throw that in there. I'm not holding my breath though.
I mean, like, I know some people in the comments are still, or not the comments, on social media are like still bracing for disappointment that a Zelda HD collection is going to happen. And it could, but now I'm just kind of like, what's the? I mean, again, it's like, yeah, sure, buy it on the Switch. You can still play it on Switch too. I feel like this is going to be another like PS4, PS5 thing all over again, where you're still going to see a bunch of Switch games come out just because it
Probably.
might be cheaper to produce for the Switch, but will still work on Switch too. Because like, I don't know how they're doing it, but there are still PS4 Lunar Remaster, no PS5 version. Yes, PS4 version. Make that make sense.
Wow.
It doesn't matter because you can play it on both systems, but it's still like, huh?
Yeah, no, that's a little weird.
PS4 got legs. I mean, I guess it just depends on if you want it on in 1080 or 4K. I don't know.
I also just realized that this means that there are directs within a week of each other. It is literally 1 week to the day from the Switch game direct and the Switch 2 direct. And I'm just like, that's a lot of directs in a short amount of time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. When the initial thing happened, I was just kind of like, oh yeah, like probably a partner or an indie. That makes sense to me. But even then, it just begs the question of, you know, when you talk about this, because you have all of your, you know, third parties under NDA, they can't, you know, even the freaking Croc remaster developers are like, expect to hear something on April 2nd, and you're just kind of like, you can't say that it's coming out on Switch 2 for reasons, which just makes the whole thing kind of stupid.
It's a little awkward. Yeah, I don't know. It's so interesting because the Switch itself just has such longevity. It like even now, even on the heels of like the Switch 2 about to come out, it's like the Switch is still successful. People are still looking at the Switch, and it's like people are clamoring for Switch 2 because it's been so damn long. But also, like as a system itself, it is wildly successful, and I can see why they would try to, you know, squeeze every inch out of it that they can. And I don't know, maybe these games that are being announced tomorrow are just, I don't know. Maybe
Paper
they just got
Mario
delayed.
again. Yeah.
Maybe
Give us
it's
some
stuff that
fucking
just
weird
got
shit.
delayed.
Yeah. Do it. I mean, like, even people are saying because of backwards compatibility, like, let's just do it. But, like, I don't know, man. Our current climate at the moment, the economy is probably not going to be so great. So I don't see a lot of people that bought a Switch, especially the people that did during, you know, the pandemic, are going to look at the Switch 2 and be like, yeah, like it would have to be so drastically different and play games that like you couldn't think possible on a Switch for someone to be like, and like Animal Crossing doesn't need a Switch 2, right?
Yeah.
Does it really?
Yeah.
This is like to me, it's like for the third parties who are desperately trying to get their games to run at like more than 15 frames a second on the Switch.
You know what would be a slap in the face? Imagine this. Imagine the Switch 2 can run Monster Hunter Wilds when the Steam Deck cannot. Imagine that. Just buys Monster Hunter Wilds specifically so I can play it on Steam Deck.
Wasn't that the reason why you wanted it on Steam in the first place?
Yes, it doesn't work.
You know what's really funny? I should just buy it on PS5 then, because my Portal doesn't give a shit. If it runs on PS5, my Portal can play it.
Oh my god.
Another notch for the Portal. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 7R for Switch 2. Just wait. Who knows?
Like, technically the Steam Deck can play it, but it's jank.
Yeah.
It's jank AF.
You have so much more faith in Nintendo.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that it's going to happen. I'm just saying it would be a slap in the face.
It'd be really funny.
It would be, I would scream. And I would crap, honestly. I'd be so mad, honestly. I'd be so upset. But anyway.
It's unsupported on the Steam page, so it actually tells you it's not supported. So it's definitely gonna be jank. Okay,
Sobs.
got it. Yeah, I don't know. Like, obviously, I think we're video game nerds. We're probably gonna get a Switch 2. Probably,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Are there any features about the Switch 2 that you're like hoping for specifically, or?
I was about to be like, just better specs, honestly, and I'd be happy. But also, I would love for Street Pass to come back. I really
Yeah,
to come back.
it is such a missed feature, I feel like.
Yeah.
And the Switch could do it. Oh, custom. Yeah, look at this. Like, people are like, custom home screen, bring themes back. Like, these are
Honestly,
things
yeah,
that
I also
any
love
system
that.
could do. But no, we have to buy a new SKU to get fucking custom
know.
home screens. Yeah, I don't know. I guess like I'm curious about this like little thing. Everyone's like suggesting that the Joy-Cons will have mouse features.
Yeah, I did hear about that. I'm not sure how excited I am for that, unless you're gonna be playing like fucking Mario Paint or something. But like,
You could.
I don't know. I mean, I guess you
Now
could.
on NSO, we're not gonna make a new game. You can play the SNES version of it now.
I don't know. I feel like anything that they could add in that way would be additional gimmicks.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Which, I mean, I'm all for. I'm not complaining on that front because I'm one of those people that who really buys into the gimmicks, and I'm just like, yeah, make the Joy-Con rumble and make it feel like there's marbles running through my hands. I get excited by that shit. I love it, but it's also just like I am just. It's weird because I feel like in concept the Switch is so good. It's hard to imagine a way to like physically improve upon it other than specs.
Yeah, I mean realistically, people have been wanting an improved Switch since 2018. Like,
Yeah.
everyone had been talking about a Switch Pro. People were mad because like of frame dipping in Breath of the Wild, especially. It's like, I don't know. There really isn't much that you can do with the Switch except just make it run games better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that makes me wonder, like, with these games like Mario Kart and Smash Brothers, if they're just gonna have backwards compatibility, like, I do wonder what to expect from like their predefined like franchises. And how will they convince you?
Said it was done, right? It would have to be handed off to someone else, theoretically.
I mean, there's that, but I'm just kind of thinking like if backwards compatibility is still there,
right?
Then
I see what you're saying.
Why would I buy Smash Brothers, the new Smash Brothers, when we have Smash Brothers on Switch and it runs?
Right.
It runs better now on Switch too. I don't need to buy another one.
Right.
So I do wonder, they might pull a Mario Kart 8 and just be like, we're just going to re-release the game and then we're going to do like 2 years of additional content.
Honestly, I could see that, but also some of the models are different, right? In the preview, because I know Donkey Kong is different, so it can't be like the exact same one-to-one thing.
Oh yeah, Mario Kart
model swaps.
I guess we'll get a new Mario Kart, right?
Yeah, I would expect a new Mario Kart personally. Smash, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Genuinely, no clue.
We'll put Goku in it finally.
Goku.
He will save us.
God, being real, if they were to release a new Smash Brothers and just put Goku in it, it would still sell so many copies. just because the meme came true.
The Kakarot edition. Hell yeah.
Kakarot edition.
Look, they're gonna keep putting content into Kakarot itself, which I thought was fucking wild. They just threw in a new DLC just for the new anime. just make a sequel. Anyway.
Oh god.
That's different. Anyway, that brings us to a close for this month's episode. I just want to thank our guest again, Masae, for joining us. Let us know where people can find you and what you got going on lately.
Yeah. I am on YouTube under Masae VT. I do highlights of streams that have happened and clips. I'm going to be having lots of shorts coming out. I'm working on them. I'm getting them together. So that's going to start having a pretty steady stream of shorts. I'm on Twitch, twitch.tv/Masae. I do video games. I do speed runs. I do art, all that stuff. I don't know. I'm bad at talking about myself. Whatever.
Well,
Whatever.
I mean, look, you do new things now. You've been doing like more just chatting streams as a VTuber.
I have. Yeah, I do just chatting streams. I'm being a little bit more experimental. I'm playing the stupid games that I was too embarrassed to play before, like Cookie Clicker. So we're really embracing the chaos over on my channel and the random things. I kind of want to do oh, I haven't said this anywhere, but what I really would like to do is get a collection of really stupid games, just stupid games,
Mhm.
and just have a segment called Stupid Game Saturday and just play whatever, like old DOS games or like
Ooh.
something cursed or whatever. Lemmings.
There you go.
I don't know,
Leisure
something like
Suit
that.
Larry. Couldn't play that before.
Can you play that now?
No, I meant you couldn't play that before.
Oh, I thought it was banned on Twitch.
I actually don't know. And that was Miss Ayanella. Unfortunately, she was
Oh,
banned from
glad we're
Twitch
ending this on
forever.
Leisure Suit Larry.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
hey,
so glad we're ending on
people
that.
have gotten banned for way worse.
Wait, fuck it, Friday is actually really good. Sorry, everyone's giving me ideas for other days.
I
Fuck
think
it,
it's in the
Friday.
Insta-ban category. Really?
Yeah. I
What
was
did
like,
Larry do?
can't it's straight up like, but beep bop, sweep swoop, push you.
You're doing this again, huh?
Yeah.
Can't still trying to get a hang of some verbs, verbal stuff. So yeah, it's fine.
I'm trying my best.
Abunai. Look, Yabbit! As for me, remember, if you want to support this channel and the podcast, you can subscribe, where you can, and then you can watch the video version of this podcast live, including an exclusive Q&A session for those of you who tune in early.
Yeah.
If you want to help financially support us, you can also become a member, which earns you some cool emotes that you can use on YouTube.com. Plus, you get a special role in our Discord if you join the Discord, including access to exclusive channels where you can help shape the future of this channel. I just see like all these little hearts, and I thought I heard like little kissy noises. And you look, if you're not able to financially support, that's okay, because you can also help us out by liking the video. It's free, and leaving a comment down below. You know what? What are you looking forward to, chat, the most during tomorrow's Nintendo Direct and maybe the April 2nd Direct? Where are the doggos? They're not part of the podcast. You got to go to twitch.tv for the pups. They don't crash this stream. Speaking of memberships, remember how I said that I can give like 5 at a time? Well, how about 5 more?
Whoa!
Since I only do one podcast a month, I only stream on this channel once a month. Here you go.
Oh,
You're all
There it is.
sponsors now. Thank you for supporting
very
me.
cool.
I'm looking forward to the Jack 2 stream. God, I'm not. Look, if you prefer to listen to the audio version of this podcast, you can find us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or really wherever you get podcasts. If you leave us a good rating on those, environments, it'll help us grow and help reach new viewership in those spaces. So please leave one if you can. Unless you're going to give us a bad review, then you can skip
I'm gonna
that.
do it right now.
My God.
I did it.
You
And I'll
did
also
it?
subscribe to you. Boop. I
Wait, you
did
weren't?
it. Not on the new channel.
Oh.
I'm not subscribed to anyone on the new channel.
To be fair, I subscribed to you today because I know how to do raids on YouTube, and I think you
don't.
both have to follow each other, but you have to set it up before you even stream. You can't just simply raid somebody. It's probably
That's-
one of the worst things about this whole feature.
Yeah, that's stupid.
It's dumb because I don't know anybody that
Once
streams.
on the old channel, and I never used it again because it was so clunky. I was like, no thanks.
It's fine. Look, we follow each other now. It's okay. Maybe next time.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Figure it out, I guess. We'll experiment with it. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, it's fine. Anyway, come back here next month for some more video game table talking. But until then, this has been the fantastic first episode of Good Luck, Have Fun. Good night.
I'm so honored to be here for the first one. Thank you.
Hell yeah! Thank you for being here. It's been an honor.
That's
I forgot I have to press the button. I don't have any stream deck button. Anyway, good night, everybody.